Overflows Samadhi Divas of Sheikh Brijmohan Lal. An awakened one has attained to the status of Samadhi in life, that is the process of transformation, and then he lives his life guided by that understanding, that awakening. Although he is in the body, but his consciousness is not of the body, mind, intellect, or you can say the guided by the identity crisis. Enlightenment means you have experienced oneness within, and you have an access to dissolve into the cosmos. The drop has become the ocean, and then ocean becomes the drop. This is the process of enlightenment. In a way, it is the beginning, one shore of Samadhi. And then he continues to live life like that. Such a person has no fear of death. He has known what is death. Incoming breath is life, outgoing breath is death. So every moment he is going through this process of life and death. One moment life comes in, next moment life goes out. So this continuously remains like that. Sufi Brijmohan Lal, his enlightenment, his Ijazat Khilafat is also significant in that matter. In 1949, after the marriage of his daughter, he developed renunciation. Renunciation means no desire to live into the world. There were many occasions when he wanted to stay alone in the night, sleep alone, and a couple times my mother had told me that he tried to escape from the life, go into the woods where he could spend rest of his time in austerities and so. So it happened, my grandmother Shakuntala Devi, she knew this. So she told her daughter that take care of your father and do not allow him to be alone. Anytime if he is alone, he will enter into the beyond, means go into the woods. One night it happened, he was sleeping, it was summer, he was sleeping outside. My mother says she got up and she saw that Sheikh was not on his bed. So he looked around and he said that she has gone a little further from the place where he was sleeping. So he told him, he said, you don't want to leave me alone. I was just going for nature's call. That was an excuse. Tremendous desire, or you can say, he saw the renunciation, but it was not the way of the existence. It was the 6th of January, 1955. There used to be a magazine called Sant used to be published every month. In that, all was also published systematically the life Jivan Charitra, the life works of Lalaji and Chachaji as penned by Sheikh Brijmohan Lal. So whenever he is visiting different cities, there was no internet at that time, no email services, no phone services as such. So the magazine was the only connection through which the seekers will know the upcoming visit of the Sheikh, and then he will arrange the satsang, the meditation sessions in those places. The, the 6th of January, when he was to leave for Mumbai, Bombay, which is now Mumbai, my grandmother asked, she knew it, that this is the last visit. And so she expressed the desire to go to accompany him. He said, you have already been to Bombay. Next time when we going to another place, we will accompany. His the visit has two ways, going to the place and returning. So he had known the way of going to Mumbai, but his return journey was not planned, because there, after the Samadhi, his body has to be, the mortal body has to be brought. So there are certain formalities. So as a result, his return program of the journey was not mentioned in that. And under the influence of the tawajjuh of Sheikh, nobody noticed it. It's only after he entered into Samadhi that everyone noticed that Pitaji, as they used to call him lovingly, did not mention the return journey program. In the morning, so he visited different cities. He came to the city where my parents were living. So he stayed nearby the railway station by one of the seekers and sent the message to my mother to come. Mother said, if he wants to meet me, he has to come by me. She was very recalcitrant, obstinate in her ways and means. When the message came to him, he said, this girl is very obstinate. I have to go to visit her. And he came to visit her at our home. And then she expressed the desire that, Pitaji, let me accompany you. So at this, she said, who you will come back with? It did not strike her. So he had already planned that he will be all alone. He can enter into Mahaparinirvana, and neither his daughter nor his wife is there available at that time. In the morning, at he reached on 17th of January 1955, he reached Mumbai. He was staying by the house of certain disciples. So in the evening, there was the meditation session. He was explaining the greatness of Prabhu Shri Ram, that he was so the awakened one. Although he is stern, but he is always full of compassion. So the sins is to be work on, but not the sinner. Do not disrespect. Because of certain things, this person is committing this kind of demeanor. Is not that it is nature. So he was saying that Ram was so benevolent, kind hearted, and compassionate that even an enemy who has caused so much atrocities to him, he forgave him, and his soul entered, Ravan's soul entered into that of Ram, just like this, and he did. And with that, saying that, he fell on the podium where he was speaking, and he became unconscious. So he was put to rest, and he, after a few minutes, just to make sure that the people feel comfortable, it was said, and he said that this is quite normal, nothing new, just give me some of the glucose with lime juice. And it was 7:30. in the evening on 17th of January, there was no communication, because where my grandmother and uncle Sufi Omkarnath was living, there was no phone facility. So it happened that through the wire, a message was sent, Pitaji, Puj Gurdev unconscious, and send a telephone message, a telephone number, call at this number. So there was no telephone facility in the nearby. He has to go to the telephone exchange to make a call. But as soon as the message came, Shakuntala Devi took off her symbols of marriage, that is the toe ring, the bangles, and the mark on her forehead, bindi. These are the symbols of a married person. And she was sure. Then, somewhere around in the night, two sages from somewhere they appeared, and they said, I have been instructed, called to visit this person. And they said, I will remain with him in the room. It was in preparation for his soul, his process of parinirvana to complete. When he, after saying that the soul of Ravan entered into that of Ram, just like this, that was the physical, the process has begun. But the process cannot complete. When an individual has attained a higher status, like something like a VIP, his treatment, his welcome has to be done in a different way. Suppose if an ordinary person comes to your place, you do the welcome in one way. When it is of a different way, very VIP, then welcome has to be done different people. You invite different people to prepare and make all the arrangements. So around 4 o'clock, these two sages came out of the room saying, chanting the mantra of Purna Samadhi, Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. They said that has attained to the higher status. So these two came to assist him in the transcendence of the soul. Ordinary person can transcend on his own. Lalaji, at his time of his nirvana or samadhi, there were Sheikh Abdul Ghani, Jagmohan Narayan, Brijmohan Lal, Raghuvar Dayal, all these people, they were enlightened ones. So they assisted him in the transcendence of the life force. But in that case, he was alone. And the people where he was staying, they were not capable. So in that situation, this is the way that the awakened one invites the higher souls who has already transcended to bring them out of that situation. And thus the process of, they said he has attained the status of Mahasamadhi, Mahaparinirvana, and if he wants to come back into life out of his own, it is his will. Nobody can force him to come out of that. So finally, it was he entered into Mahasamadhi. Then on 20th of January 1955, his body was brought to the city of Lucknow, where he was staying, and all the funeral rites and performances were performed. Enough for now. This will continue in part 2. The body being brought to the city of Lucknow